HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Farmer's Son, Calving Season on a Family Farm, by John Connell. Read by Alan Smyth. The tracks of cattle to a drinking place, a green stone lying sideways in a ditch, or any common sight, the transfigured face of a beauty that the world did not touch. Patrick Kavanagh, A Christmas Childhood. Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air, drink the drink, taste the fruit, and resign yourself to the influence of each. Henry David Thoreau, Journal, August 23rd, 1853. January. Beginnings. I'm 29 and I've never delivered a calf myself. But that's all about to change because I've got my arms in her passage and I'm trying to find the new calf's feet. As a farmer's son, I've birthed calves aplenty, but always as the helper, holding a cow's tail up or pulling the calf out at the last moment. My father has been in charge of the calving for 25 years, and when he wasn't, my brother took over. But now that I'm home, it's me. I'm home again in rural Ireland, back from being an emigrant, here to write a novel, to try and make it as a writer, and, in exchange for a roof over my head, it's been agreed that I will help out on the farm. There's a lot tied up in this birth for me, much more than the cow knows. The red cow moves suddenly and lets me know her strength and power. I must be quick. I must get the ropes around the calf's feet, slide them above the hock and pull them tight. The amniotic fluid wets my hands, my arms, and I remember now the talk I have heard other men say, that your hand gets weak after a time, that the clasp of her vaginal embrace takes the power from it. I must be quick lest the calf die. I think for a moment that I am glad I am alone and doing this myself. I could call for help. I could, but then I would still not be tested, would still not be able to prove that I can do this myself. I will call no one. I grasp the first foot and slip the rope over his hock. I had been watching the red cow all night and could sense that she was going to calve. She was sick, as Mam calls it, patrolling her pen, not eating her silage or nuts or water, and then I saw that her passage was broken down, sausage-like. Da, my father, Tom, is away. He is at the sheep mart with his brother Davy. As older men, they have found each other again as friends. They go to the sheep sales together every week. Sheep are a new thing for us. We have only been keeping them 3 years. We have a flock now, as does Davy. He and Da buy and sell the animals for fun. It gives them a hobby and something to do together. And above all, it makes my father happy, for he is a sociable man. I never begrudge him these trips, for I know they do him good and give him a break from the farm. I know, too, that he won't be in the mood to fight after them. That is the most important thing, for we are trying this calving season not to fight, and so far it is working. I cannot say that we are friends yet, but a respect has come between us that was never there before. It is a small and delicate thing, still fragile. I have the other foot. I take the second rope from the side of the gate and slide it onto the calf's leg. It slips and falls, and I curse, and now I think perhaps I do need help, but it is too late. To wait might mean death, and then I would be called a fool for trying on my own, and there would be a huge row. No, I must focus. The cow has nearly finished the nuts, which are a meal ration I gave her to keep her calm. When they are gone, she will remember her distress and begin to thrash and kick again, and then the job will be all the harder. I stoop low, take the rope, and turn to my work again. The rope is now on the second foot. I pull gently, but the calf is big. He will not come like this. I will need the jack. I take the mechanical wrench, placing it on the cow's hips, and hook the ropes into the slots and begin to winch. I must do this right, I tell myself. Though I have seen it done so many times, I know my actions. I must jack, then lever down to bring the calf out. The biggest pull will be his head, and once I have that out, the rest should follow, except the hips, which can sometimes be trouble. I winch the jack 5 times and hear the sprocket chime out in the quiet shed. I pull down, and as I do, the cow bellows low in a noise I don't recognize, a noise of pain and strangeness. There, I say, clucking to her. I let off the pressure and jack once more, and feel the sprockets turn and the ratchet move up the teeth. The legs emerge more fully now, but still no head, and so I lever down again. I can see his nose. It looks so flat, perhaps his head is squashed. The cow bellows low again, and I feel her feet tremble. Don't go down on me, I say, and let the pressure off once more, and she stands to again, and we repeat our chores. Her contractions push the calf as much as they can, but he is beyond contractions now, for he is too big, and our job is at a point where it cannot be undone. I jack once more, and the cow roars. I am sure Mam will waken now, for she is such a light sleeper. It was she I turned to for advice tonight to make sure I did not take the calf too soon. She has known cows all her life and is wiser than us all with them. But again, I remind myself, this is my job now. I pray, or at least I think I do. The head emerges, and I have no time to thank God, for I must jack with all my might and keep going, for the cow could give way, and if she goes down, the calf might die. I see his tongue wag, and I know he is alive, and I pull still stronger, though my arm is growing tired. I jack, and he is emerging now, fluid and strong, and he is red like his mother, with a white sketch on his face. He is the son of our stock bull, of that I am sure, for I can see the old bull's face in his. The calf's hips are big, and the winch of the jack is at its end. The cow is in distress, and I remember now Dad's words to twist the calf to bring the hips out. So I do, and I take him in both my arms, and the adrenaline is such that I do not feel his weight. I carry him to the fresh bedding, jack, ropes, and all. I must move quick still, for we have lost calves with fluid on their lungs before. I pour water in his ears, and he shakes his head and comes to moving life, and I smile with relief. But then he coughs, and I can hear the fluid, so I take a breathing tube with a mask on its end and fit it over the calf's muzzle. You extend the pump, and its vacuum pulls the fluid up, and, in theory, the calf should cough up the fluid. I do this 3 times, but the fluid does not come up, and he begins to wheeze. I cannot lose him. I pick him up with a roar and carry him over to the gate and sling him across it. I have never seen this before, but the calf has always been lifted by 2 men, so I know that I must have found new strength. I massage his lungs and give him a slap, and soon I see the mucus emerge. He lifts his head, and I know that he has won. I release him down into my arms and carry him back to the fresh bedding, alive and safe. I disinfect his navel, take a small breather, and walk to the farm kitchen. There is blood on my arms and face, but it is a pleasing blood, the blood of life. I rinse my hands in a barrel of water. The frost has come, and the water is cold, and it stings. My job is not done, though, for I need to get the calf to feed. When a cow gives birth, her milk is of a special kind that we call bee stings. This colostrum is thick and yellow, and the calves must have it straight away, for it keeps them alive and gives them the necessary antibodies to ward off infections and sickness. The first few hours in a calf's life are its most important. If these things are not done, if he is not fed, his navel not treated, any number of things could kill him. Pneumonia is a plague to us farmers. It has killed so many calves. Scour, too, has taken its toll of death. We always tube feed our newborn calves. It means we know they get milk into them, and you can rule out a whole lot of checking on them later in the night. The stomach tube is a plastic pipe connected to a bag. The pipe is inserted down the calf's throat, and the milk goes directly to his stomach. This is a dangerous job, for if the pipe is inserted incorrectly, it could go into a lung and kill him as soon as the milk starts flowing. First, I must milk the cow. I wet my hands and take her tit between my fingers. I strug it, and after 2 or 3 pulls, the milk squirts out. I massage it now, as I have seen my father do, and find the natural rhythm, and soon my jug is filling. The bee stings as thick and warm like custard. The cow makes to kick, but I am too quick and rescue my jug. "Easy, girl," I say, and talk sweet nonsense to her. Her hard work is done, and I shall not chastise her now. The calf rustles in the straw, and she turns and shouts to him, and he cries a small, plaintive cry, as much as to say, "I am alive." I steady myself again, and move on to her next tit, and strug and milk, and soon the milk is squirting into my jug, singing in the age-old sound of milk pouring onto itself. It is a sound all farmers know. It is a sound of my childhood, and my parents, and theirs before them. I think now that this family I am part of has been doing this for so long, so many sleepless nights spent milking in sheds and barns, and who knows, before my grandfather's time, perhaps on the cottage floor by the fire in the old house. The times have changed, but not the animals, and not our actions. My jug is now overflowing, so I pour it into the stomach tube bag. I take another jug, and by the time it is full, I have broken the seal of all 4 tits, and they will be easier for the calf to suck. This cow's teats are not so big, which is a good thing, for I have seen cows with big, long, dangly ones that calves struggle to hold in their mouths, and that creates its own problems. The stomach tube bag is full now, so I must begin to feed him. This too is a first for me, and I must be careful. I sit lightly atop the calf's back so he cannot struggle. Then I lift his head, pry open his mouth with one hand, and insert the tube with the other. "That's it," I say, and I do not know if I am talking to the calf or to myself, but together we are doing this, and slowly now the pipe moves down his throat. I think I have avoided his lungs, so I lift the bag into the air and watch the colostrum drain away down the tube and inside him, and I know the end of the job is near. "Thanks be to God," I say, in a way that I have heard others speak, and I am glad of this automatic phrase, for it is the truest saying that I can find in this moment. I release the calf and sit back, resting against the whitewashed wall of the calving house. And with that, the half door opens, and it is my father, bright and smiling. "She calved. Just pulled him there. You should have called your brother." "Can't always be calling people," I say. "Sometimes you just have to do it yourself." "Sometimes you do," he says, and smiles. And I know now that something has happened. I've passed a test of some kind, and I am glad. He opens the half door and walks in. He is in his jobbing coat, which is his blue velvety coat for the mart. My Uncle Davy follows behind, along with my young cousin Jack. "There's money being made here," says Davy, and we laugh. I stand up, and they admire the calf. He is a fine wee bull. The boys leave to go to their house, and it is just Da and me again. "Had you a good night?" I ask. "Grand," he says. "Any sheep?" "No, but it was good to look." I unloose the cow and leave her and her newborn to each other. She licks him, gentle and soft despite her size. Nature will do the rest. I am 29, but I feel so much older this night. Summers past. Manhood is an important thing in this land. Farming gives us our sense of it, our understanding of ourselves. My father is a manly man. It is something I have always admired in him. As a gossoon, a boy, I remember summers past in the long ago when he and his brothers Mick and John worked to save the hay. We were in the upper ground on my father's ancestral home farm, and the day was fine. They were the age I am now, and I marvelled as they pulled and threw the square bales of hay high atop the trailer, working in unison like men on the line, like soldiers on a march. They joked and sang and chatted, and the work passed quickly. I envied them their strength then. They worked as poets of the field, bards of the land. Their common speech had a musicality I have sought to emulate in my adult years. Turning now, coming up 20 years later, it is me who throws the hay, and they who watch in their different forms. My father and his brothers, the first great farmers I ever knew. The farm. Our farmland is flat and thick with hedges and trees. The ground is average, though we have made it good with our work and sweat. It was all bog and rush when my parents came to live here. Da built the house as a young man, and slowly, as life moved forward, together he and my mother decided that they too would become farmers like their families before them. But having inherited no land, they had to buy their farm piece by piece as their businesses grew. And so, 3 decades later, we have our acres around the house, as well as our lands of Esker, Rusks and Clonfin, which are across and down the roads. A stream flows by the house, and by the end of the fields it joins with Camlin, the biggest river in the county of Longford. I still remember when we built the hay shed, and the holes for the iron girders filled with a foot of water, and I found frogs swimming in them. Many neighbours came to help us erect the shed, like an American barn raising. Here we call it a mehill, a gathering of men to work together, like in the old times. We have been farming in this place nearly 30 years now, starting off with just 3 cows, which have grown to a large herd. I remember those 3 cows still with fondness, as a city man might remember a departed pet dog. We are in the depths of winter. It's been the wettest January on record, and storms have battered and blown our sheds and fields and rivers. In the west of the country, people are flooded, and I've watched them cry on the news. I met an agriculture salesman in the feed store who had come from Galway, and he told me they had rowed boats over fields, over the height of gates. I cannot imagine our fields being so drowned. Our fields have names, but I do not think this strange, for all our neighbours have names for their fields too. They've been passed on from generation to generation. When Da and Mam bought Rusks 10 years ago, after old Robin died, the first thing they did was to find out their names. There was the crab-apple field, the potato field, and the meadow. They were English names, for Rusk's land had once been owned by the Hamiltons, who had been settlers in the time of the plantations of Queen Elizabeth I. We no longer know what the Gaelic names for the fields were. They are gone. Once on the radio, I heard a well-known sports commentator from Kerry speak of the childhood fields of his home. Their names were in Irish and sounded beautiful. The fields here are old and have known my people, the Connells, for a long time, first as tenants to an English lord, then as owners. We have walked and worked their knolls and nooks. There have been other families, other bloodlines in this place in the townland of Sorin, but many have moved away or died out. Farming is a walk with survival, with death over our shoulder, sickness to our left, the spirit to our right, and the joy of new life in front. It is a cross of creation, like the sign of God we were taught in school. There are 3 sheds in the yard, each built at a different time as the farm grew. Once our old accountant tried to get my parents to invest in apartments in a tourist town, but they refused. The land is what we know, they said. It sustains us, enriches us. The land is our living and we know no other way. Birchview is the name of this place. It is my home. Mornings. Mother is the first to rise. I do not know anyone who works quite as hard as her. She is our gatekeeper, for between the hours of 3 and 6 a.m. no one is awake unless there is a birth, and so her morning watch at 6 is the first of the new day and will tell us what to expect. The farm is not her job. She has a Montessori school and daycare centre at the back of the house, but she loves the farm all the same. I must admit that there have been mornings when I have cursed her waking of me, but then I am reminded that the cows or sheep have no one else to help them in their hours of need or distress. Mother is their voice. I rise at the same time each morning, have a cup of coffee and a bowl of porridge, and make my way to the farmyard. It is still dark as I walk across the yard. The frost has not come, but it is cold, and I blow upon my hands to warm them. I do not wear gloves, for we farmers do not wear gloves. I think it might be seen as weakness. My first job of the day is to let the dog out. His name is Vinny. He's a pup, and I've been training him these last few weeks. I've never trained a dog before, so cannot gauge either my work or his discipline, and yet he does as he is told now, which is just as well for Vinny because he was nearly a goner. I blame myself, for I started it. The sheep had been lambing for a few weeks when Vinny arrived on the farm. He was bright and young and great company for us as we checked on the animals in the night. It must have been the 3rd or 4th lambing when I threw him the afterbirth, which is the placenta of the mother. He set to it and chewed as if it were the finest tartare. I wondered briefly if it was the right thing to do, but he did not bother the lambs or sheep, so it seemed that it was okay, and so the practice began. I would deliver a lamb and throw Vinny the afterbirth, and being the good dog he was, he would eat it promptly. It was 6 a.m. when Mam woke me. "Vinny's eating one of the new lambs," she cried. I did not see the attack, but I saw the lamb afterwards, his ears chewed red and bloody, his legs clawed. He was shaken, but he was alive. Mother had wrestled the two apart and hushed the dog away. I treated the lamb's cuts with iodine and put him back with his mother. We worked out as best we could what had happened. The lamb had been born in the night and had escaped its pen, still covered in birth fluids. Vinny had taught it another placenta. Lunch, a mobile lunch. But I do not think he minded that, and he would have chewed the lamb up happily, not out of violence towards the creature, but in getting his treat of meat. "He's got no sense," Mam said. "Do you think he meant it?" I asked. "I don't think so." I scolded Vinny then, for the sight of the lamb's ears angered me so. When my father came out to the yard, he too scolded the dog, and then, carrying him by the scruff of his neck, placed him in his doghouse. He stayed there for a time, whilst we decided what to do with him. My father is not a dog person, so it was odd that he was the one who had bought Vinny and even given him his name. After a few days of thinking, he took the dog in the jeep to give him a new home with a neighbour by the hill farm of Clonfin, some 20 minutes away. I did not say anything then. I now think that cowardice comes in different forms. Sometimes it is as simple as silence. In the end, we decided against getting rid of Vinny. Mam and I called Da and asked that he bring the dog home. It came down to faith, we reasoned. Faith that the dog could be trained to unlearn bad habits. There is nothing more dangerous to a farmer than a bad dog, for they can kill sheep, drive cattle to madness, and break your heart. Like Pontius Pilate, my father absolved himself of all responsibility for the dog that day. He put Vinny into my care, and there he has stayed. I have not fed him an afterbirth since. I do not wish to tempt the dog, and I do not wish to beat him. Vinny is a reformed character now, remembering his brief punishment all too well. There is a learning in everything on a farm, something that I am growing to know as I age. Vinny keeps to my heels as I walk over to the cowsheds. The cows roar at the sight of me, demanding their silage, which is a fermented grass that was harvested in the summer. I was not here for the harvest. Some mornings it smells sweet and reminds us of summer and meadows. This morning it has no smell. My father and I mostly feed the cows together, but some mornings I do it alone. Today he is having a sleep-in. This suits me fine, I think, so he cannot nitpick my way of doing things, and after his decades of early mornings, I like to give him the odd morning off. The cows eat a bale of silage each morning and another in the evening. In the past, we had to cut open the bales and use our long-handled pitchforks, or grape forks, as we call them, to manually distribute the feed amongst the cows. But this winter, my brother gifted my father an automatic feeder, which rolls and chews up a round bale and spits it out in a neat row, neater than I could ever do by hand. It saves waste and time. The cows low until they are fed, and then set to eating and chewing. It takes 2 hours each morning to feed all the stock, and only when every animal has food in front of it does the bellowing stop. In the lower shed, the weanlings are being fattened. They will go for slaughter in a few weeks, so we keep food in front of them at all times. There is a young red bull that I have admired. He is strong and muscular and will bring a good price. He nearly killed me one day while I was cleaning the shed, but I have forgiven him that, and I suppose he has forgiven me for the scolding I gave him in return. I know it was only curiosity that drove him to try and headbutt me. Cattle have their own personalities. Like dogs, or people for that matter, some cows are nice, some are bad, some are sly, and some are just lazy. Their temperaments vary and their moods change. I have seen the kindest cow bully one of its fellows and the angriest bull play with young calves. There is no racism in cows, and the different breeds and colours all get along together. After everything is fed, I check the hens for eggs and give them feed and water. They are laying well at the moment, and I praise them, as I do all the animals when they are good. Some mornings the eggs are still warm. I imagine the poached or boiled egg I will eat later and smile, for it will be a nice treat. But before that, mucking out. The cows that have recently calved are in the single pens, and they must be cleaned and bedded. Cows don't have the sense to void in a corner or to bury or cover their own waste, and the houses grow filthy. I don't like to see them stand in shite, so their pens are cleaned out every second day. I put the mechanical bucket on the front loader of the tractor, gather my grape fork and shovels, and make my way to the cow pens. Sometimes, when I am cleaning the houses, I listen to the radio or to podcasts, and sometimes I lose myself in the task. It is odd to say, but in cleaning out the cow dung, I have often thought of Zen monks and their sand gardens, raking and re-raking, cleaning, purifying, being immersed in their actions and thereby entering a meditative state. I think you can find meditation in the shoveling of shite too. When the tractor bucket is full, I drive up to the dunkel, which is a vast pile of manure and used straw, and empty my load. The dunkel will be spread on the fields in spring as fertilizer. Everything on a farm has a purpose and a future use. Every action is part of a cycle. The dung of winter will bring the grass of summer.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?